Week's Wrestling Podcast here. It's sunny, hot-ass South Florida, almost nighttime down here. I'm your host, Ernest Peter, coming to you. Alongside, of course, Mike Bernier and Joe Lopez. Fellas, what's up?
Are we in Amsterdam?
I wish we were. I'm
Then
pretty excited.
How could it be sunny South Florida if it's 11:15 at night
After
after a wrestling pay-per-view?
I said that, and then I said, although it's nighttime. It's been hot all day today.
But it's not the sun. It's the Earth. It's because we're close to the equator, not because the sun is out.
Jesus Christ.
It's just Ernest has just been wearing his mask for too long, and he's been breathing in all the carbon monoxide.
I got too much shit in my brain right now. The Heat going to the finals. The Giants fucking suck. Florida State got destroyed by my biggest rival, probably, or second biggest rival, to me anyway. It's still coming this season.
I'm gonna be honest. It just sounds like he needs to get laid.
Oh, I will after this call. I'll get laid after this call. No big deal.
Cool. You should start getting it before the call, though. I feel like then you'd be in a better mood.
Well, I would have, but I had to take care of business here first.
No. You see, you're doing it wrong.
I think it's the wrong kind of business.
The hurt business?
I mean, that's what you're doing by being on this call before.
Right?
You're hurting yourself.
Like priorities.
Priorities, my
Damn.
friend.
I don't
Yes.
even like women, but priorities.
Priorities, yes. Anyway, before we get started in the show, we're going to recap Clash of Champions, which this ended about over an hour ago. Want to spend about a couple minutes here just to talk about one news item that happened this week. The passing of legendary one half of the Road Warriors / Legion of Doom, Road Warrior Animal, this week, passed away at the age of 60. Obviously, if you've been a wrestling fan for 30, 40 years, you would know obviously the impact of both him and Hawk, and what they accomplished, in many promotions, NWA, WWE, you name it. Just want to real quick just get some thoughts on a passing about one of the really big legends of this business. And obviously you talk about tag teams, and I know at some point in the next couple months we're going to be doing a tag team bracket, all-time tag team bracket. They're going to be in the conversation, definitely. They got to be a conversation, obviously, of all-time greats, without question. You talk Mount Rushmore to me. I know historically, Mount Rushmore, they're definitely, to me, there in my opinion. And yeah, the passing was kind of sudden. I just want to get guys' thoughts on everything, Mike.
Hold on. Turning on an episode of Velocity.
Velocity.
Yes, on the WWE Network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll watch this one. So it is very sudden. It is very out of the blue that we lost Road Warrior Animal earlier this week. Did he ever fight like Flair for the NWA title? I feel like
Hawk
I've
did,
never seen those guys go solo at any point.
They did.
One of them
definitely
did when
went
the other
solo.
one was hurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of them was hurt, and one of them faced Flair in a match for the NWA
Hawk.
title. I just
It
don't
was
remember
Hawk.
which.
It was Hawk.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was Hawk that got the title shot. Definitely. I remember seeing that match.
Okay.
Yeah, so obviously they're going to be in the competition for the world's number one tag team, according to us. Unfortunately, we lost him too early. It seemed like he was enjoying being a dad and a granddad, especially to his football son, James Laurinaitis, who was a member of the Rams defense there for a while. I liked them in the ring. I thought they were really good in the ring, like when they weren't in a whole nother dimension mentally. I'm going to put that to you as kindly as I can without, throwing people under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's unfortunate we lost him, but it's one of those things where I think I text Joe like right away after he passed away, and I'm like, he literally died like 3 hours ago. How can they say he died of natural causes? Like, it was really confusing how they like snapped that he died of natural causes. Like, it was like a snap answer, and I'm like, normally there has to be like some kind of like autopsies or something like that. It just was really weird that they decided that was going to be what they what they decided that it was. I was just very confused by it. So sucks, but I think the multi-years of it's one of those things where a lot of these guys, especially, perfect example is what happened with Eddie when Eddie passed away. The
Guerrero,
years of wear and tear on his body from everything, it just caught up to him. Eddie wasn't using at the time or doing anything wrong. It's just the years of it wore and tore on him and ended up catching up to him in a very bad way. Unbeknownst to him.
So I'll just jump in and I'll just say R.I.P. Obviously. I don't have much else to say though, because to be honest, yes, I will agree with you that obviously Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, they belong in any greatest tag team of all time conversation. They were one of the last really big main event tag teams, in the 80s. They were everything. However, if you were like me and you grew up watching WWE in the 80s, you kind of didn't really care about them that much. In fact, you were more of a Demolition fan like I was.
Mm-hmm.
And then when LOD suddenly showed up around, 1990 or so?
Yeah, 1990.
In WWF, you were low-key kind of pissed off that they were there because you were just like, fuck these guys. They're from the other company. I don't want them here. And I can never find their action figures, and that low-key got on my nerves back in the day. But that's not even a joke. I could literally not find their action figures ever. I never owned their action figures, and it really upset me. But anyway,
I had them.
Well, fuck you.
Well, you had them. We had them.
I still think I may have them.
God, that's amazing. I'm jealous right now.
I'll have to look. They may be in my collection that I kept. I'll have to look.
I don't remember seeing them when we looked through it.
Yeah, I may not have. They may have been ones that I didn't have.
So, but so that's the thing. I don't have they're not one of my favorite tag teams of all time personally. I get the respect for them. I get their work, and I certainly respect it. I will vote for them very, very far into any tag team tournament, depending on who they end up against. But I don't have a big reaction to the man passing away, unfortunately, because it's one of those passings that doesn't, I don't feel personally touched by. It's not someone who I was a huge fan of, or it's not in general, celebrity deaths don't usually get to me. The dude that played Black Panther, that got to me, but that was so out of left field and unexpected, and that was a whole different thing. But I think Road Warrior Animal certainly had a lot of fans. His works, people, I'm sure it influenced a lot of wrestlers that are working today. I'm sure it made a lot of, I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there and a lot of former fans who would list him as one of their favorites of all time. So I respect that completely.
I will say this much, and I think, Joe, you touched on it a little bit too about the fact that when you were a WWE fan, WWF fan,
as a kid, yeah.
That was me. I didn't get to NWA at all. I knew of WCW, and I, even in the early years before Hogan went there, I would peek at WCW once in a while, but I was never invested.
Same.
You know what I mean? So when Legion of Doom came, I didn't have the same reaction you did, oh, fuck these guys. But I understood who they were, and I knew they were good, but I never really, truly embraced them the same way. Because by the time they came to WWF,
it was strange. I seem to have this weird loyalty at the age of 7 or 8 years old, because I had the same reaction to Ric Flair showing up in WWF.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Literally, both Flair and the Road Warriors got that reaction from me, where I was like, "But fuck these guys, they don't belong here."
I'm a Hogan guy. I'm a Macho guy. Fuck you guys.
Right?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, 100%. But I did understand the impact, obviously. And plus, when they came to WWF, though, I had already started checking out WWF at that point. When they peaked out 91, 92, I already stopped watching WWF regularly at that point for a little while. So I never really had a chance to truly embrace them the way I did with Demolition and Powers of Pain and fucking Heart Foundation, all that. So, but understanding the impact they had on the business, it's still a big loss, obviously, and when it's done. But so. Again, rest in peace to Animal and and all that. So with that being said, no easy way to transition out of this to our show today. But we're gonna recap.
Sure there is.
Sure there is. What do you mean?
Sure there is. You could just tell him, the greatest thing he ever did outside of wrestling was invest in Zubaz and make them popular.
Ah.
Cool Zubaz, bro.
Him and Dan Marino, probably the most popular guys, wear that shit.
Exactly. All right, now we're all happy-go-lucky, and let's get into tonight's show. See, it's
Mike
easy.
Mike with the podcast happy pills. But
that's what I do.
Yeah, we're gonna recap tonight's Clash of Champions pay-per-view, which is, to me, on not a bad show. Mike, take it away. Let's go for it.
Oh, we'll get there. Pre-show got switched around. Was originally supposed to be Asuka versus Zelina Vega. That match got moved to the main card due to Nikki Cross, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler all being not medically cleared to compete. I've now seen on Twitter that it was just Nia and Nikki that were not medically cleared, but it could have been all three of them. I'm not 100% sure. So that meant that Bayley was not going to face Nikki Cross. She would have a match against somebody a little bit later on, and no women's tag title match. That's supposed to be figured out tomorrow on Raw. I would be surprised if they maybe take the titles off of Nia and Shayna.
Mm-hmm.
And put them on who?
Maybe.
Yeah, what tag teams left? The Iconics broke up, remember?
Yeah, they literally have broken up every female tag team that existed.
The team that they were supposed to face tonight.
That was who?
Ruby and Liv.
I have no idea.
Riot Squad, right?
Ruby and Liv.
It was a Riot Squad, right?
Yes, Ruby and Liv. Yeah, but you could always do something that, I don't know, could be interesting. Put a couple of the NXT women's together in tag teams. And have them challenge in it and maybe take the women's tag titles to NXT for a month or two.
Well, wait, actually, what I would probably do, just to throw that out there because I'm awesome, put them on Mia Yim and Mercedes Martinez.
From Retribution?
Give Retribution some actual legit shit, because honestly, they're probably the two best members of that group anyway.
I would definitely say
was it Slapjack? What is it? That guy's name Slapjack?
It's the two of them and Dijakovic.
Yeah, I would argue they're both better than Dominic, but I mean, I like him, but I don't think they're both better.
Is it T-Boz, T-Pain? Who was it?
Okay.
What in the fucking TLC are you talking about?
Oh, the names of the fucking guys in the group now they gave.
T-Boz, Left Eye, Chili.
Yeah, what the fuck their names are?
I mean,
Left Eye died. I got news for you. Breaking news. Left Eye's not there.
If he's gonna keep throwing out T words like that, and he didn't fucking call him Teabag, I think this fucking podcast is over.
I said T-Pain.
No, he doesn't speak in auto-tune. God, this guy loves laughing at his own jokes.
All right, can't help it.
All right, card shifting. We had Asuka and Zelina onto the main show. We moved the SmackDown Tag Title match to the pre-show. Excuse me. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't get this at all. How do you have two of your best in-ring workers in the mediocrity that is the tag team wrestling division? I don't get it.
Dude, I don't know. I totally agree with you 100%. It's just, yeah.
So,
I mean, it's better than them not getting used at all.
That's true.
There's 17 people here because of the pandemic. If they don't get used at this point, they probably should just get cut off the roster.
Well, I mean, touche. I'll give you that one.
I mean, if you're not going to use Shinsuke, let him go back to New Japan and put him in G1. At least I could get a Shinsuke versus Will Ospreay match.
I'd pay for that.
I forgot they fucked that.
Shut up and take my money. They defeated the Lucha House Party, which was Kalisto and Lince Dorado with Grand Metalik. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't watch the pre-show. I had no desire to watch the pre-show.
Yep.
I have no desire to care about the SmackDown Tag Team division right now because the Usos are out, the New Day is out, and yeah, that's all I got.
Yep, totally. Next one.
That match was the Savio Vega of the card. It was there.
Just there.
Can I just say, I low-key am surprised that Kalisto still has a job in WWE. That is all.
Yeah.
They should put him back on NXT. Around 205 Live.
They should put many people back on NXT, in my opinion. Best is me.
Opening match of the main card, or the televised card, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. 26 minutes, 35 seconds, the longest match on this show. A triple threat ladder match for both Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy's Intercontinental title, a la Razor and Shawn from WrestleMania 10. Sami Zayn retains. Regains.
Sort of. And still.
Sami Zayn's the Intercontinental Champion.
And still.
Again. Honestly, I'll tell you this much. Best match of the night, probably.
Easily.
And I love the fact that Sami handcuffed Jeff Hardy's ear to the fucking ladder.
Ugh.
Great.
No. I cringed.
Yes.
It was the smartest thing a random wrestler could do.
You got to give them credit. It's not easy after the vast amount of ladder matches that we've seen over the years as fans. It's not easy to come up with something new. Exactly. And you know what? They came up with a whole bunch of new. Like, the whole story they told was new. The way they used Sammy and, like, the stuff he was doing was new. And like you said, right, like, that was cringeworthy, but, like, it was meant to be cringeworthy.
It's supposed to be,
so
right.
They got what they wanted out of it, you know what I mean? It was, I don't know, that was a great match. It was actually a great match.
It had everything you needed. It told a great story, had great spots.
Yeah.
This was great. It was an A+ match, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'll give it to you. It's one of the better matches of the year. Probably one of the best matches they've had in Thunderdome.
Jeff hit the Swanton spot like he always does.
Yeah.
Yeah, big fan. That match was really good. Raw Women's title match was the next match. 7 minutes, 5 seconds. Asuka over Zelina Vega via submission with the Asuka lock. Post-match, nobody ready for Asuka. Tries to shake Zelina's hand. They decide to bow. Zelina kicks Asuka in the face, pissing off Asuka, which I would strongly advise that you don't do.
Yes. Never a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that happened. And then, Asuka yelled some things into a microphone.
That shit, yeah.
I believe she told 3 people to go fuck themselves. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. My Google Translate stopped working.
Let me ask you this question. How do you guys feel about the Zelina Vega quote-unquote push now, I guess?
I've enjoyed it. I wondered why it took so long to happen, honestly. She's really... I mean, like, she's obviously not, like, one of the top-tier women in the division, but, I mean, her and Asuka had a decent little match. Like, it wasn't go out of your way to see it awesome, but it certainly wasn't, it didn't have me feeling like, why the hell am I watching this? So,
and I feel like
I'll give them that credit. And honestly, if nothing else, Asuka always looks like she's having so much fun in the ring that it's hard not to have fun watching her.
And I feel like Zelina will get better too as time, the more she's in the ring, because she hasn't been. I mean, at least since I've been watching, she's obviously been an advocate. So
yes,
hopefully now with more time in the ring, she'll just get better.
Yeah, no, exactly.
She used to wrestle in Impact too.
Yeah.
Did you watch her in Impact?
Yeah, she was part of what was she
LAX,
part of? LAX.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mexican America, as they called themselves, not LAX yet. It was her. She was. What was her name in there? Selena. Sarita.
And I'm dreaming.
Oh no, her name was Rosita.
Tonight.
Sarita. Yeah, there it is. Rosita and Sarita.
Oh shit! I remember them.
Yeah.
It was like a whole stable that was named after that one dog in Lady and the Tramp.
Correct.
Like Rosita, Juanita, Chiquita.
Really?
No. But anyway, what was the next match?
Next match for the United States title, it is 1/4 member, 1/3 owner of business that is hurting. Bob Lashley with Montel Vontavious Porter and Shelton Benjamin in suits. What's next? You're gonna get a match. What's next? You're gonna get matching tracksuits. You're gonna come out in fucking Adidas tracksuits. Ship it. Let's go. They defeated Apollo Crews, who was had his good friend, Mr. Ricochet.
Your boy.
Damn.
It's your boy.
8 minutes, 15 seconds, Bobby
Yeah,
Lashley
ignore
with the Hurt Lock.
Can I just say I've had this weird realization recently, and I partly credit that show that was on Netflix not too long ago. It was like the beginning of the year, from the creator of Blackish. I forget the name of the show was. It was really great. Like, go watch it. But I've realized that when you hit a certain level of rich, you're either always wearing regular suits or track suits. Like, there's no in between. You're definitely in one or the other.
Interesting concept. Oh.
It's weird. It's very weird. I'm trying to get okay with it, but it's very weird. Anyway.
How much longer before Apollo Crews joins Hurt Business?
I don't think he will. I actually think that. I don't know. I think he gets
traded to SmackDown. And gets away from them.
Oh, that would make sense.
On October 9th when the draft is.
Yeah, draft's happening.
But does he Oh, by the way, I hate that. I hate that they just announced that, and then that like Hell in a Cell is not until the 25th. So it basically means like the next week and a half worth of shows are completely and utterly pointless.
Yeah, stupid.
Or
like they might as well have just started it tomorrow.
Or whoever gets the number one contenders, you just know they're not going to get moved.
Right, exactly.
So it's like you can go ahead and claim those people. Those people aren't getting traded or redrafted or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure, like honestly, let's just be real, right? Randy Orton probably going to SmackDown. Like, like the guys who have kind of hit like a dead end now, but are too big to do nothing on their brand, are probably going to the other brand.
What I would have liked to see them actually do, and this is gonna be weird. Yes, the NBA Finals is starting whenever it is.
Wednesday.
The NHL is in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup. Obviously, football is what it is. Baseball playoffs are getting ready to start. I would have loved for them to do the draft as like its own standalone show.
That would have been cool.
That'd be really cool, yeah.
Kind of
put it on like the network,
or do it on Fox Sports 1, because you have that Tuesday night time
slot
that used to be backstage
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. I don't know if Fox Sports 1 is being used for baseball, so that may debuff my thought process. Which, if that's the case, I get it, because obviously baseball is probably going to take priority over wrestling right now. But I would have loved to have seen, an actual like draft show where like they have representatives in the war rooms and like they come out and like they hold up the new SmackDown t-shirt.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I would have liked that too.
I would have got a kick out of it. So Bob with the Hurt Lock over Apollo Crews. Where the hell was Cedric Alexander? Why wasn't he out there in a suit?
That's a good question.
They're doing my boy wrong, man.
Yep.
He fits that group, though. He really does fit.
I honestly really enjoy that gimmick, though. I enjoy that group a lot.
I love it.
And the match was good, too. Like, it wasn't anything crazy, but like amazing or anything.
It was a solid match. It's solid beat.
I really like Apollo.
Go Apollo.
He's going to SmackDown too, probably. He's going to SmackDown too. Watch.
I said that.
Yeah, but my fear is he goes to SmackDown and then disappears, because that's what happened to him in the past.
Mm.
I mean, it's what kind of happened to a couple people.
I would love to see him show up on NXT.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I can get behind it. Raw Tag Title match, 8 minutes 15 seconds. The Street Profits over Andrade and Angel Garza. This one had a little bit of a weird finish.
Yep.
By weird, you mean fucking stupid.
Was it real? A mistake? Yes. Was that scripted?
No, he's hurt. They went home early.
Okay.
Angel Garza, I potentially blew out his hip. If you go, I'll see if I can find it and send it to you, Joe, via text message. I
prefer carrier pigeon.
Well, they don't carry good gifts.
God damn it.
So whenever he hit the running knee to, hold on. I don't want that. Why does that have noise? I don't want that to have noise, though. Sorry, I was playing the sound in my headphones. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't.
No,
I don't
okay.
hear it.
No, fine.
But you don't want none. I got it.
Yeah. So what happened was he hit that running knee to Montez Ford, and when he did, I think he popped his hip out of place.
Right.
Because
Ooh.
as he goes to get up, you can see that like he can't really do anything with his left leg. It's like he's trying to straighten it out. Like it's almost like he's trying to put it down on the mat to lift himself up,
Right.
and he just can't. He finally gets over to Andrade. Andrade hits the running knees. The X got thrown up before the tag was made for the to show
I
the
didn't even
backstage.
see that.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
it was a quick cutaway because literally he throws the X up in the camera, he shoots off to like a different angle of Andrade reaching out for the tag.
Right.
But yeah, he was definitely actually hurt, and they made the decision, I think, to go home early
Mm-hmm.
due to the injury. Because if you look, whenever Ford and Dawkins get the tag titles, Angelo looks like really pissed off.
Yeah, I almost thought they were like borderline going heel the way they were acting.
It's like he was pissed off that something happened.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if Andrade and Garza were supposed to win the belts here or not. Like, it's very possible that could have been the case. I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to speculate on any of that stuff. But you could definitely see that the Profits were both upset with how the match ended.
Yeah. Well, because look, I'm gonna be honest. Up until the end of the match, this was my favorite match on the show. I thought that all four of these guys were absolutely killing it. They were
But it was good.
they were crushing it. And then you had that kind of weird ending out of nowhere. And yeah, I thought that it was like a purposely booked ending, if I'm being perfectly honest. And it kind of killed a lot of my enjoyment for the match. But knowing that, it might have been an accidental thing and they were just covering up for, having to end the match early, I'm going to be a lot more forgiving to that then. And I might go back to considering this at least the second best match on the show.
I think the kick-out angle, and just hear me out here, was
CYA.
Let's see if Angel's hip is really bad or if it's just one of those a stinger. We'll go work it out. He'll be back by Friday or next Monday. He may not wrestle tomorrow, obviously, but he might wrestle next Monday. And if we were going to put the titles on him, we could always just have a rematch where Angel and Andrade could be like, "Oh, my arm was clearly up." But if he's going to miss some severe or extended time with the hip injury, it gives you the chance to pivot and then save those guys for later.
Right.
I think it was a kind of like a cover, like Joe said, a CYA on not wanting to punt the full Andrade and Angel Garza angle.
Right.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm like I said, I'm willing. I'm definitely more willing to put this as like my number 2 match of the night now, knowing that.
Yeah, because I think that definitely changes a lot of the dynamic. Because whenever the match first ended, Twitter was blowing up like that was the stupidest fucking finish I've seen in my life. And then
exactly how I felt. Yeah.
When they
but
were
like I said, and up until that point, right.
And then
up
all of a sudden they cut away
fantastic.
to Angel Garza laying. Like they cut away to Garza and Andrade.
Yeah, at the end.
With like the medic crew
mm-hmm.
at ringside for like 2 seconds, and then they cut back away from them. But yeah, it was one of those.
I remember that. You're right.
So it's one of those where it's like I don't know if like they said anything on commentary about it.
No,
but you could definitely see that something wasn't right, and Twitter at first was eating this match alive. And then basically it came out that Garza got himself hurt. And then everybody kind of veered back from the, oh, this was trash to, well, let's see what happened. So hopefully Angel Garza doesn't miss any extended periods of time due to this injury because, I really like Angel Garza in the ring. He's kind of growing on me. He's actually been really good in the ring.
He's hot as fuck.
All right, I knew you were going there.
Yeah.
He is.
Trust me, Joe, I sat next to you at an NXT taping where he ripped his pants off and you said, "I Poppy."
I said, "I Poppy." Okay,
yeah,
pronounce
exactly.
it right.
Oh,
Get
geez.
Carol in the room; she understands. I Poppy.
I Poppy.
Yeah.
This match was a really, I'm not even call this a match. 3 minutes, 45 seconds. Asuka defeats Bayley via disqualification in a title match for the SmackDown Women's title. Bayley comes out and lets out I'll challenge anyone. Oh, challenge closed. That was the dumb, I get her heel character, but that was just dumb. It wasn't playing into her heel character role. It was just this is dumb. Why are we doing
it was
this?
obviously last minute because of what happened
Was it dumb? Was it dumb, Mike?
Cross match. Obviously was something planned last minute.
Have her beat Lana.
Lana.
Have her beat Natty.
I kind of agree. There's not a single other woman they could have thrown out there. Where the fuck is Lacey Evans?
Yeah.
She got Sister Abigail'd by Alexa on Friday, so she might be following the buzzards too now or something. I don't know. Really weird.
Good Lord.
Yeah. No. They could have put anybody out there. And had 3 minutes and then have Sasha. Excuse me. Sasha jump Bayley like she did, and we would have gotten the same thing without having to have Asuka out there for a second time.
I'm still wondering how long they pull off Bayley and Sasha. Is this gonna get all the way to WrestleMania, or is this we're gonna have a match of Survivor
Series?
Pace
Definitely faster than I thought. The pace now of this picking up. I was saying, I might have told Mike this on Friday when I saw him, keep Sasha off TV for a month or two to kind of just to build it.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah, the problem is who does Bayley face in the meantime? There's nobody else on that roster.
Well, what's Nikki?
Asuka.
Asuka again.
Asuka over and over again. Asuka with different color hair.
Well, you have the redraft coming up. Hopefully, she'll see what she'll be a SmackDown, but you'll see what, depending on the redraft. Well, the draft coming up on in a few weeks. Maybe that can influence things. I don't know.
Honestly,
I think what
the best way to do this is move Sasha to Raw.
Yes.
Move her away from Bayley and then have her win the Rumble and she challenges Bayley.
Yes.
Perfect.
I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like that.
Co-main event of the evening for the WWE Championship in an ambulance match. It was Drew McIntyre, the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE champion, taking on the legend Randy Orton. I just watched Hardcore Holly win a match in Velocity over Val Venus with a drop kick.
Oh yeah.
Val
was it a good drop kick?
Oh,
was it an Okada drop kick?
It had some good pop to it. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you rating this drop kick?
Well, Okada's obviously a 10, correct?
Okada's a 10. I would put Orton at a 9, but younger Randy Orton. I don't know the last time he threw a drop kick, but you know what I'm talking about. He had that one killer drop kick for 5 years.
Yeah, I'll give it a solid 7.5.
Okay.
It had room for improvement, but for Hardcore Holly to win a match with a drop kick, I mean that says something.
Yeah, Hardcore is a motherfucker.
Hey, he's got an idea. Put the belt on him, and he'll beat everyone.
So, I'm going to say this. I enjoyed the hell out of this ambulance match.
I did too.
I thought it was so well done. Both guys worked so hard. And you know what? Honestly, you got to give them credit. I don't know, I don't know how on purpose it was, but they've done a great job of building Randy Orton to be basically one of the most over heels in the company this entire year. You've had him literally having some of the biggest feuds that had nothing to do with the title for most of this calendar year. And then, yes, it made a lot of sense to transition him into being the guy who challenges for the belt. If he had won tonight, I wouldn't have been upset. It would have made perfect sense to me. But I'm really happy that Drew's still champion. I mean, I'm really happy that it was a great match overall.
And in
really
fact, I would say Randy's been so good, he's actually taken away from Seth Rollins' heat to some degree.
Yeah, but that's what's kind of interesting right now is you got to give credit where credit's due. They have done a good job this year of building different guys to the point where there are a number of different players who are all main event level or upper main event that aren't necessarily challenging for the titles and stuff. And that's good because now Now Randy Orton should be out of the picture. Who do you go to? You have options. You have plenty of options, actually, starting with Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
I love this match, though. This might be my second favorite match on the show. Honestly.
Make up your mind, Joe.
It takes me time.
I liked this match. I liked a lot of the spots of the match. I liked the Claymore kick of the driver's side door.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the fact that basically everyone that Randy Orton's punted over the last 5 months has come back to haunt him in this match. So I appreciated that. I hated Drew McIntyre's punt to end the match because it was so blatantly obvious that he was 7 feet from hitting Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
No, he missed that by a country mile.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that one wasn't good. But I did enjoy then Ric Flair driving the ambulance out. That was a fun little tip of the cap. I'll say this. If Orton gets another title shot before the first of the year on Raw, I will literally probably pull my own hair out. This has got to be the end of him on Raw being in the title picture for at least the next couple months. We need to transition to somebody new, somebody different. Obviously, I think the theme here is that, you got to go heel, first off. Second off, who's the heel that makes the most sense? It's got to be Seth, but the problem is Seth still has that, thing with Dominic and Ray, and now, with his daughter.
But that's kind of weird now, too, also. And, I mean, he did do Seth initially. That was his first title defense, I think, after he won in Mania.
Can I throw something crazy out there? And it works. It works this year. This is the year of let's do crazy shit because there's no crowds anyway. So there's nobody to shit on it. That's why we get Jey Uso fighting for the world title. But you know what? Let's do it. Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins versus Dominic at the next pay-per-view. 3-way dance for the title. Let's just go for it.
So what's the next total? What's the next pay-per-view?
Hell in a Cell, October 25th.
I don't think that, I don't know what match is going to be inside Hell in a Cell, obviously.
Right.
But then after Hell in a Cell, you have Survivor Series.
Yeah. Yes.
Personally, I think Survivor Series is going to be Team WWE or Team Raw versus Retribution.
See? All right.
But I think Retribution wins.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that every reaction that I've seen about Retribution was that they shit the bed with the whole angle, and the fact that they weren't even remotely I don't remember them being mentioned tonight. They certainly didn't appear. I'm not gonna be surprised if the whole thing kind of just quietly disappears.
It could, but
I don't think they're ready to give up on it because, again, as you said about Dominic Mysterio fighting for the world title at the next pay-per-view, there's no one there to shit on it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them keep going with it. But I also think it's a little weird that it finally went somewhere this past week and then there's a big pay-per-view and, nada.
They could always play that into everybody thinks that they're going to do it on, the biggest scales, but they're going to do it on their time. Retribution can play that off.
Oh, yeah, they can. But
so I think that's going to be, I hope they do because I think that's the way that they should go. And I think that it should lead to a Retribution versus Raw at Survivor Series.
Right.
And I would have Dijakovic win. Probably be the sole survivor for Retribution, leading to a Dominic Dijakovic versus Drew McIntyre world title match at December's pay-per-view. Because then that gets Drew to Royal Rumble against somebody. Maybe a guy who's returning from the pandemic, maybe someone who's, finally healthy. Maybe Keith Lee gets elevated into that spotlight by Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So I think right now I don't want to put Drew in a package with Seth because I don't want it to ruin Seth's run.
Right.
But also, when is Becky due? Because
I
there's
have
going to come
no
a time
idea.
where Seth
Somebody was telling
going,
me, I think my buddy G on my podcast last was telling me that they think she could be
December?
back as early as Royal Rumble.
No, I'm not talking about her being back. When is she due with the baby?
December.
Then if you're going to put Seth Rollins in a title feud and include Mysterio in it for the next month, I think it's a waste of Seth Rollins. I think you leave him with Mysterio just in case there's hey, she's having the baby now. We can fill it with Murphy or things like that. You can't fill Murphy in Drew McIntyre without Rollins being there.
Right.
So I would probably go more along the routes of, Drew takes on, I don't know, he could even go against Keith Lee at Hell in the Cell. And I think I would be okay with it. I just want to know what match is going to be inside the cell.
Fair
Roman
point.
Reigns versus
I have
the Fiend.
no idea.
Roman versus the Fiend, so the Fiend can lose by a no contest 2 Hell in Cells in a row.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
a question. I have a question totally sort of related, but not.
Go ahead.
Do you guys think that, like, the Raw Underground stuff should be getting some sort of slot on these pay-per-views at this point?
Not really.
I mean,
right,
I don't know. Like, I feel like
Honestly,
if you
I would have
build,
taken Riddick Moss versus Dolph Ziggler in a Raw Underground match over a 7-minute Zelina Vega squash and a 3-minute Bayley disqualification finish tonight.
that's what I'm saying. Like I enjoy the Raw Underground thing. I think that the presentation's really cool. And the thing is, they've actually done a decent job of, like, building guys up where, like, you then have these different guys who, like, are undefeated, who now you can have them fight each other and it means something. So, I mean, like, it means even more than if you give it 10 minutes on the pay-per-view, you know?
That's your point. I don't know. I mean, I'm enjoying the World Underground. I'm wrong, but I mean, I don't really envision it being like on a pay-per-view. I just envision it as Raw, and that's their thing. Fill time for 3 hours. More than anything else.
I don't know. I've seen people
They had to fill
suggest
3
that.
hours of this pay-per-view too, and what did
Right.
we get?
Like
That's a good
Mike
argument.
said, I would have taken a 10-minute Raw Underground segment with, like, Riddick Moss versus Dolph Ziggler over Bayley versus Asuka 47.
Right. No, you make an argument for that in its entirety, but I also think tonight, because of what happened with the tag match and, moving the matches, is what it is.
So main event time?
Main event time, 22 minutes, 55 seconds, second longest match of the show. Roman Reigns defeats Jey Uso. We're going to call it by TKO. Jimmy throws the towel in after Roman wants to be called the Chief.
No, let's be clear here. He beat him by talking his ear off.
Yeah.
It wasn't a wrestling match. It was a fucking TED Talk.
Yeah.
TED Talk. It's funny.
I'm Roman
like,
Reigns. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Like, but the sad
great.
part is, and I said this to you, Mike, before, that match should have been so much better. Because the truth is, during there was like a 5-minute period where they actually just turned up the action, and it was nothing but straight wrestling and not like fucking Roman Reigns, like, giving a speech and asking to be called fucking Grand Boomba. Or whatever the fuck you wanted to be called. Like, there was a 5-minute period where they just wrestled, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so awesome, and I want to see the rest of that match. I don't want to hear this speech. Like, honestly, that killed it. That killed the match for me so much.
There's going to be a faction at some point, right? A Samoan faction at some point. That's why I think I look at this match. I'm like, yeah. I can see a faction happening in this at some point in the next couple months.
My only other takeaway from this match is we learned something new that I don't think we've ever known before, which is the only person who can successfully headbutt a Samoan is another stronger Samoan.
Interesting.
Because at one point Roman Reigns just headbutt the shit out of Jey Uso, and Jey Uso went down. So I'm just saying, by, like, wrestling rules, we have now discovered the one way that you can headbutt a Samoan successfully.
All right. Well, here's what I'll say that I guess, was the good, bad, and ugly for me. Good.
Give it to him, Moose.
Good. What was that 7 to 10 minute run where these guys turn the intensity up?
Mm-hmm.
One guy gets chopped, other guy gets punched. These guys really went after each other, and I think like that's something that everyone's like, oh, they're family. How's it gonna be? Those guys went after each other, like straight up.
Tell him, Moose.
Fucking guy.
The bad was basically Roman Reigns talking throughout this entire thing. His veneers, his fake teeth, every time he talked looked so white that it was distracting. Midway through towards the end of the match, when he wants Uso to tell him that he's the tribal chief, and Paul Heyman starts saying that Roman's the tribal chief. I get that Paul's supposed to be like his,
mouthpiece,
advocate, but no, like you literally like wanted to punch Roman in the face like a year ago whenever you were Brock Lesnar's advocate. Really, dude? Like, makes no sense. And the ugly, I like the Usos, but him coming out in that head, the lay, and then Roman taking the same lay as being quote tribal chief. I don't know if that's something in like the native or the Islanders tradition. So that one confused me. And if Roman Reigns got rid of the tactical vest where he was the big dog to wear a lay around from now on, that doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I'll say
ugly.
that I think the lay was a one-time thing. I think they were just working that for the whole
angle, the whole angle for the family.
The whole angle, right? But outside of the lay, I'm so glad they finally changed his look. It's so overdue, and honestly, he looks awesome. I was getting, this is gonna sound a little weird, right? But I was getting NWO Hollywood Hogan vibes from him, which I think is exactly what you're supposed to get from him in heel form.
No, absolutely. That's if they're gonna do it.
That's how you do it.
The vest. Do it differently. Like that, I don't have a problem with.
Go all in.
But to go from the vest to a lay, I was just like, yeah, that doesn't do it for me, guys.
I mean,
one-time thing. I think. One-time thing.
I think they should go even further. They should get Kimono on a lay out of retirement, and they should just get her to just be like the side piece to the manager.
I mean, she did work in ECW with Paul.
Yes, she did, exactly. She's probably just a phone call away.
Probably. So for a show that was relatively built on, horseshoes and, super glue and paper clips, it wasn't that bad.
It really wasn't.
I enjoyed it.
Same.
There have been shows with more build that I felt like have been more of a waste of time. I don't feel like this was a waste of time.
Same.
So, yeah.
I'll give it a B+, strong B+.
Yeah, I'm out there too. I'd give it a good B+.
Yeah, I'm with it. I think it was a good show.
B+ is across the board.
All the way.
Sounds good.
The B+ player of a show.
Very positive. Yeah. Alrighty, let's get to the next topic. I believe we have Mike, is it yours next? Because yours actually is more current.
Yeah, sure. So dating back to this past Monday, I was watching
so long ago.
I was watching Monday Night Raw with a fellow friend at the current job establishment that I have, and we watched a match between Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre, and a friend of mine made this comment, and I was thinking it, and we had a civil conversation. Is what WWE is doing with the camera right now, all the cuts and everything, is it taking away from the in-ring product, which is making fans, I guess, sour on what's going on? I mean, I understand with the pandemic, there's no fans to, do the fan shots and watch the people chant and all that. But in the McIntyre-Keith Lee match alone, there was about, 93 cuts in about 7 minutes. It literally felt like it killed that match. So my question to you is I know it didn't happen a lot tonight, but if you watched Monday Night Raw, can you see like is the camera work and the director cutting from shot to shot to shot potentially harming WWE's product?
I don't know if it's harming it, but it's definitely it was definitely noticeable more than ever on Monday because of the amount of times they did that. I don't know if I say harming, but it could get annoying at times. But
Well,
I never really noticed that as much unless it's really excessive. And Monday was excessive. And when you told me about it on top of that too, and I looked at that, holy shit, this is bad.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched that match. I didn't watch Raw this week. I honestly, I hardly had any
You didn't miss
interest in.
anything.
Yeah, I hardly had any interest in much pro wrestling, and if it wasn't for us covering the pay-per-view tonight, I probably wouldn't have watched it. I'm glad I did. It got me kind of more into things, and I'll go back now and like catch some of the shows I missed from this week. But
AEW too included?
yeah, I didn't watch AEW. I had zero interest, but I'll go back
Be
and
good.
watch it
Be
now.
glad.
At least throw it on. But yeah, no. What I was gonna say is I didn't see what you're talking about specifically this week. However, WWE has done this for years. So like going back a very, very, very long time. And like here's the thing. I think WWE has some of the best production out of any, not just wrestling company, but any company in the world, any entertainment company. I think WWE is like hands down one of the top 5, maybe top 10 production companies in the world. I've thought that for a long time. I mean, it's as impressive as a Broadway musical, and it always has been. Or like a really big concert or something, Live Nation, all that. I don't think they get as much credit as they deserve for the amazing jobs that they do. But I will tell you, I love video editing. Mike knows this. I don't know that you know that, Ernest. I've won
I do
awards.
now.
Yeah, I've won awards for video editing for
Really?
a job that I've had in the past. Yeah, I love it. I've done it since college. It's one of the things I've studied. If I ever needed to, get back into a career of any sort, like that would be one that I would very happily go towards. I would have to take some more lessons. It's been a while, and it's one of those things where the software is always updating, and things kind of change. But because of that, I do have a very I not to pat myself on the back too much, not to give myself too good of a reach around. I'm just gonna go half a job on the reach around. I have a really good eye for catching edits. I have a really good eye for a lot of like technical stuff when it comes to video and production and all that. I'm one of the few people I know, like I've literally walked out of movies being like, well, that was awful, except the editing was great. Like I'm okay with being that person. So I can tell you from watching WWE for so long, they have done this for a very long time. I think it might be more noticeable now because, like you said, they don't have like the audience reaction shots to intercut.
Right.
But I'm telling you, like, there were times, you can go back, there were times where, like, if someone was hitting someone with a kendo stick 8 times in succession, you got 8 different angles. Bop, 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 bop. And it's too much. It is too much. I think it's way overboard
Excessive.
sometimes. Huh?
It's excessive. I agree.
Yeah, no, it's way excessive. But like, I think it's noticeable now. Like, I think it's more noticeable for like you said, because they don't have the live crowds to to intercut with. But I think that like I wish I could think of an example to go back. Like honestly, pick any match from like the last 15 years that might have involved someone getting beat with a kendo stick. So maybe like I don't know, some kind of a last man standing match or some shit, and go back and watch it and count the edits and stuff. I promise you, it was just as excessive. Just for some reason, just not as noticeable.
Crowds.
It really might have been that, which is crazy to think.
Something very subtle. Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, honestly, like I feel like you can even look at a lot of other sports right now and the way they're being produced and see how big of an effect not having crowds does have. And I mean, I think I'm really happy that they haven't gone back to the point of trying to get live people in at an excessive rate. I think what AEW is doing is great. I think being in one location, I think having a very small number of fans going in and keeping them, socially distant, keeping everyone safe. I think that's great. I've heard that there are even some like concerts that have been happening where like, these arenas that hold 15,000 people, they're only selling like 2,000 tickets on purpose so that they can keep everyone really spread apart. I think that's, that's all fantastic. But I'm still also happy that like they haven't rushed it. I'm still happy that like the NBA is in their bubble. I'm still happy that baseball hasn't tried to like rush fans back or football. I really wish football would stop piping in the crowd noises. It's like watching a fucking Goldberg match. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, like I really enjoy like football is another one of those sports that honestly, it actually isn't that different when there's no crowd on TV because you couldn't see the crowd on TV half the time, except for when they cut to a reaction shot. And so I mean, like that is still missing. I think the NBA has actually handled that the best, but it is crazy. It's just crazy how much like live audiences not being there and how different the presentations have to be really can affect things and can really point out some of the weaknesses that have always been there, but you don't necessarily always notice.
Yeah. I'm good to hear that about you, video editing past. That's good. That's cool.
I have my moments.
I just think that them doing all these different camera cuts and all that stuff is obviously not helping them out at all.
No. But, we become some slack because of the fact that it is the pandemic. It is, a different situation. And, I don't think it'll be as big an issue with crowds. I totally agree with Joe there. The crowds definitely impact a lot, especially wrestling, especially for wrestling.
Here's a question. Since you just said that, and how much time do we have left on the topic?
Oh, like a couple minutes. Take 2 minutes.
Okay, cool. So then we have time to possibly like divert a little bit, but because something you just said, being forgiving because of the pandemic, because we're kind of like 6 or 7 months into this thing now. And like I said, like, look, the NBA figured it out, and they have a really good. To me, I honestly kind of think that the presentation that the NBA is giving right now in the bubble is better than what it used to be outside the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's kind of figuring out what works and what doesn't work, and like I think for the first few months it was very easy to be like, well, look, nobody's done this before, it's all new, they're still figuring it out, yada yada, and we've seen WWE go from like, what the hell are we gonna do? Having an empty building. There was that one SmackDown where it basically just felt like a test run where like Bayley and Sasha were just like chit chatting and shit like that. You've gone from there to Thunderdome. So obviously they have evolved what they can do. They have been doing exactly what you're saying, where they've paid attention and said, okay, what works, what doesn't, what can we do to make this better? But like at the end of the day, when do we stop cutting slack? Like when is it time to be like, you know what? You guys have been doing this now for 6 months. Like you should be able to have it. Like you should be pretty on the ball.
I mean, it depends on what we're critiquing here. If we're critiquing actual storylines and booking, that's one thing. They can control that, But like something that has to do with like we talk about the production here. I mean, that the crowd is so important to the product. That's why Vince did the whole virtual thing. Like, I mean, obviously it's still weird to some degree, but it's better than this is way better than what we had, in the Performance Center. You know what I mean? Way better. It's not even close.
What, obvious?
Mike, one thing to add?
No, I think the video cutting is definitely killing a lot of the. What's the way of looking at it? It's cutting a lot of.
I get what you're saying.
Positive.
Yeah.
It's too much.
I agree.
Yeah,
so, anything else on this topic? Or want to go to the next one? Or
let's keep moving.
Okay. I think this is Joe's topic. If Joe's on mute, oh, there he is. Okay, Joe.
I'm off mute.
Let's bring it home, brother.
I wasn't even eating cold cuts. I was putting away laundry. I just didn't want you guys to hear.
Bring it home.
I might be a lot of things, but domestic is still one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't sure what kind of topic to go with tonight, as you guys know. Well, you two know. And I asked to take a look at the old list of, hey, here's a topic that we can use at any time where one of us can't think of a topic. And the one that jumped out to me this week on that list, because we didn't have a nostalgia topic yet this week, and I feel like one of the fun parts about this show, one of the fun things that I like, one of the reasons why I pitched it the way I pitched it to you guys when we started doing the show, having 3 different takes, it was so that you could have like 3 very different topics and be able to touch on them as opposed to having like, a whole episode on just one thing. And I think that becomes more fun when like things are just more varied. So obviously we've talked a lot about current WWE tonight because, we talked about the pay-per-view that just happened. So I thought it'd be fun to go backwards and do the nostalgia topic. So what I decided to go with, what was on the list, and what I'm going to ask you guys to share. And I think my favorite thing about this is I would almost bet anything that our answers are not going to be the same. Who is your favorite ECW character of all time? Going back to that company, who did it for you? Who got your motor running?
Let me exhaust my quick because you guys are probably bigger ECW fans than I am, obviously. I did watch ECW periodically. I knew some of the guys, of course, back in the late '90s, and I would check in, of course, and watch them here and there. But I would never consider somebody like a diehard fan, But some guys did stand out. The one person that stuck to me, and it really made me appreciate him more when Stone Cold Steve Austin became what he was the Sandman.
Yeah,
I love the Sandman, and especially after Stone Cold came out, it was like. Because as edgy as Stone Cold was, Sandman was even more edgy because of the product. There was still some restrictions with Stone Cold in WWF, WWE, beforehand. But, the Sandman, taking the beer, the beer swilling, the hitting on the head and all that. I enjoyed watching him. I enjoyed watching this character and stuff, and it made me appreciate Stone Cold and vice versa. So, mine was Sandman.
He certainly had one of the most iconic entrances of all time.
Without question.
I mean, to this day, I don't know about you, but like if you ask me favorite entrances of all time, that's definitely up there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a great answer. The one reason that I wouldn't have gone with him personally is because of the fact that like he was very unique, but then they ran with it. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin came after him, and like he at the end of the day, it kind of just feels like the Sandman he isn't the only person, like you said, who was like, a beer guzzling, gonna kick your ass kind of guy. Steve Austin became a much more successful version of that same character. So,
but to be fair though, bigger platform, Vince.
Yes.
I mean, Vince,
But okay, but also to be fair, if you had put the Sandman on that same platform, he wouldn't have become as big as Steve Austin.
I do agree with you on that one. I think Steve Austin is probably a little more talented in terms of in-ring and even on the mic, I'll say, too, because Stone Cold, he's Stone Cold. Steve Austin himself, without Stone Cold, he was still a really good wrestler,
Yes.
But he had enough skills and the intellect to put all together in a package,
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Mike.
Okay, so I have 2 that I will hold to my, I guess, vest. First one, I will always have a spot in my heart for the way that ECW built Taz.
Oh yeah.
I love that one. Yep.
Because beat him if you can, survive
if he lets you. Yes.
Yep.
And my second one, and this is a lot of people are gonna go, oh, it's got to be Rob Van Dam. It's not Rob Van Dam, but I do love Rob Van Dam. My second one is the franchise, Shane Douglas.
That's a good one.
I love the fact that what they could get out of Shane that other promotions weren't able to. A lot of people, for some reason, don't like watching Shane Douglas matches. Shane was great in ECW. His in-ring work was really good. His early stuff with the Pitbull. Then when he was the world champion and the Triple Threat.
Yeah.
I loved me some franchise. So
he was legitimately the franchise of that company.
Correct.
I like
I
it.
loved it.
I like it. Well, my answer is definitely different than your guys. But I really love those answers actually. Shane Douglas was a good pick. I didn't even think of him. I figured one of us would go with the Sandman, and I gave you my reason why he's not necessarily my favorite all-time character. And I think this isn't my pick, but I'm just gonna put it out there. I think a strong case could be made for Raven. I think that he, from a character perspective, especially in ECW, was probably one of the most interesting characters in wrestling history. And the storylines that they built around him and Tommy Dreamer and their rivalry that went back to high school and involved the girl that was Tommy's girl leaving him and then leaving Raven to go back to him and all that. It was crazy and it was so much drama. It was like watching One Tree Hill. I loved it. So I got to give them credit. However, Raven's character was so amazing that, he also went to WCW and did some awesome things. And then WWF fucked it up, but that's besides the point. So that's one reason why Raven isn't my pick here for all-time favorite ECW character. Because I felt like the right thing to do for me was to go with a character, or actually characters, it's a tag team, who
Is it Public Enemy?
really, huh?
Is it Public Enemy?
No, you're close though. It's the Gangsters. Because
True.
I'm sorry, nobody encapsulates the very essence of Extreme Championship Wrestling more than New Jack, who quite literally was basically allowed to go commit crimes in the ring on a nightly basis. And that's pretty much why he was there, and he was cool with it. I mean, me personally, my favorite part of any ECW show was the fact that, a Gangsters match would have their song playing for the first 20 minutes.
Yes.
And, the energy that brought was so amazing that I just loved it. And the thing is, those characters could never work in any other company. You couldn't do them in WWF, not even during the Attitude Era. You couldn't do the Gangsters. You couldn't do them in WCW. You couldn't, look, they tried doing Public Enemy in WCW, and that shit was lame as fuck because they were neutered as hell. They literally became the guys who just put people through tables and not in the cool Dudley Boys way. So, you know that no other company could have done with the Gangsters what ECW did, and, for that reason alone, I think that they might be the most quintessential ECW, my favorites. They're just my favorites, honestly. And I feel like because of that, I should always be on New Jack's good side. It's another good reason to pick him as your favorite ECW wrestler of all time.
Correct.
Anything else? The dead air like that.
I just spoke almost as much as Roman Reigns did in the main event of that. So
It's funny because you don't like this guy, but on his podcast last week, Sam Roberts did his top 5 ECW personalities. Give me what you want to call it, kind of like Mount Rushmore / +1. And I think he had a couple of guys that you mentioned too. I think he had Dudley Boys in there. He had he obviously eliminated Heyman's and Joey Styles, those guys. He was focused only on the wrestlers. It's actually a pretty good list actually he had in there.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Even the Dudley Boys, they were very different characters in ECW than they were once they came to WWF. But they still transitioned pretty flawlessly. You know what I mean? You were able to do a version of the Dudley Boys for a mainstream audience, and it worked still, especially during the Attitude Era. That worked really well. Like I said, New Jack in particular, I mean, the only other place that he ever showed up was TNA, and they had him teaming with Shark Boy. And I mean, I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't fucking amazing, but it was just a joke. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, there was no doing the Gangsters the way ECW did it, except for in ECW.
Correct.
I think Tommy Dreamer's list too. Tommy Dreamer as well on his list, top 5.
The only other person, if you take Styles and Paul out, the only other person that you have to kind of give character-wise some fun to would be the quintessential stud muffin,
Joel Gertner.
Joel Gertner. No matter where he was at, the fact that his promos made 85% of the people in the crowd lose their mind.
True.
That is something that you will not find anymore in wrestling.
That's
At
true.
least not in mainstream wrestling. So, got to give some props to Joel.
Those days are over, definitely.
Those days have been over, sir.
All right. I guess that's it. MVPs, we go.
Joseph.
I was like, not everybody at once.
I'll go. Okay, go ahead.
Let's see. No. My MVP for this week is whoever wrote Roman Reigns' speech.
Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah, whoever. Listen, it got him the win. I'm pretty sure I bored Jay Uso to death. So,
Yeah.
Throw
in the fucking towel.
I was ready to throw in the towel, too.
Different kind of towel.
Yeah. My MVP is this week is actually a faction. It's the Hurt Business. Really love the way this is going. I actually had trepidation initially about this whole thing. I was hoping it wouldn't be another knockoff of the Nation, and clearly it's not. So it's different in many ways. My only thing I don't like is the way they're kind of bridging this with the Retribution storyline. It's kind of weird a little bit. Two kind of heel factions. Go head to head. It's weird. But other than that, I do like how it's coming together though. So.
See, I think the Hurt Business is more like just ass kickers. I don't know if they're really heels. I think that's the difference. Retribution is just trying to murder everybody.
Yeah.
My MVP this week is the entire NXT brand because next Sunday they have a takeover show that's going to be headlined by Finn Balor and the winner of the first ever NXT Gauntlet match, which is Kyle O'Reilly.
Auto Parts.
It's me a great match.
Auto Parts.
O'Reilly. Breezango takes on Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch or the Undisputed Era, depending on who wins their match on Wednesday. Damian Priest versus Johnny Wrestling. Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae. He Who Shall Not Be Named versus Kushida. Should be a good card.
Mm-hmm. All right, fellas.
Wait, who is He Who Shall Not Be Named?
VD.
Oh, ew.
Yeah.
Do you understand why I said it like that?
Yeah, fuck him.
I think you're about the 97th person that said that in the last 3 days. So
yeah.
And that's just in the state of Maine. That's not even in the state of Florida.
Fuck him with B. Arthur's penis.
Oh my God! And on that note, fellas,
thank you for being a friend.
Tell the world back at anyway, fellas,
it's a different kind of reach around.
Yeah,
it's a whole different kind.
Second time said that tonight. Show you on the roll today.
Yep.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.